Hello, welcome to this vlog. Today I'm going to be sowing some seeds, some more tomato seeds, because, well, the ones that I've got are currently a bit leggy. I was watching a video by a YouTube channel called Gardening Canada, I think it was. The girls or ladies called Ashley. She's got a Bachelor of Science in Soil Science. And it was interesting to listen to her perspective on growing seeds and where successes start and fail. She's got a lot more difficult weather than I've got here. I think she said she was in Saskatchewan, Canada. Anyway, she's sowing some of her seeds late, and I was reviewing some of the videos that I put out last year, and it was April the 25th when I did a second. Yes, 25th I think was that I did a second sowing of tomatoes, because my first ones were weak, spindly and leggy. And again, I think that's because I overwatered then, but more importantly I think it's because I also started them in multi-purpose compost, and this is where I think my problem began. I didn't use seed sowing compost. And the result of which is there's about 6 weeks feed in multi-purpose compost. So when the seed germinates and emerges, it's apparently got all the power and energy that it needs to drive up and germinate. And then once it's germinated, that's when you should put it on into a bigger container with not a massive amount of food, but enough to help it grow on to the next stage, which is getting its first true set of leaves. And at that point, put it on again until you get, a stronger plant. Now I think therein lies the problem. I've been doing things too fast. So, I don't know what, I think that was a blackbird serenading me there. So what I intend to do is I intend to use some of last year's spent compost from the potatoes, sieve it so it's nice and fine, and then mix it with some vermiculite that I've got. I'll put the vermiculite through a sieve as well to make sure that I get a nice fine amount, because some of the bits look a bit coarse. So what I'll do is I'll get that all sorted, but in the meantime, here's a quick look at the tomatoes that I grew, which look a bit, well, as I say, a bit spindly and worse for wear. Well, here I am at the heated propagator that I've got, and the tomatoes, I've potted them on, so they're in I think it's a 7 by 7 by 9, I think that's what it is. Well, whatever it is, I can get these in here. But as you can see, they look spindly and leggy, pretty much like last year. And there is another one that I've grown. This is I think it's a Super Mama, and you can see that one is it's quite leggy as well, because when I planted it, it was quite a long one, but the top isn't as leggy. So I've got that one in the light over there in the hopes that it all works out. But for now, I'll head off to the glasshouse and catch up with you then. What I've prepared there at the back is hopefully a 50-50 mix of some sieved spent compost that was used for potatoes last year and some vermiculite. It's nice and fine. The sieve that I used, I don't know if that's coming through on the screen, but it is very fine. I don't know what that is. Is it 3mm or 5mm? I think it could possibly be 3mm. But that's what I used. I'm going to again put the tomatoes in this container, but from the very beginning, not from the not in this secondary position. And what I'll do is I'll get the water bath that I'm going to sit it on next. So bear with me a moment. Right, there we have the base unit. It's a reservoir for water, and you can see it. The legs match ideally the potting matrix of the top part, so you could use these feet as a way to push out the germinated and nicely grown seedling. The capillary matting I'm going to use as a way to dampen the soil, sorry, the growing matrix that I've prepared. So that sits on there. It's a bit dirty, but I don't think that'll matter too much. And what I'll do is I'll fill this up. This could go probably wrong, so I'll put I'll pause you here while I do it. Here we are. That's the cells filled with the potting matrix, and I have a second one of these, so I was able to place the legs over the top, press firmly down, and then remove it. And can you see I've got a little dimple in which I can plant now. Now I think that's about 5mm down. No, it's probably about 10. Is it a centimetre? Well, whatever. I'm hoping that's enough to be able to take the sowing of the tomatoes, which I've got all the seeds there. Oh, one other thing, I have to show you this. When I was weeding yesterday, I discovered there was a strawberry. Well, I hope I've identified that right as a strawberry, otherwise I'll look a fool. But that must have been planted by the friendly neighbourhood blackbird. Anyway, I'll stop this and get back to you when I've planted all these seeds out. Here we go. I don't know if you can see over here, but there's now 3 of these broad beans trying to germinate, but I digress. Back to the tomatoes. So, is this a Hail Mary pass? Is that what the Americans call this in their football? I've got 4 Sun Gold seeds, 6 Super Mama, 13 Shirley, 9 Gazzy, 4 Gardener's Delight there, and 4 Yellow Perfection. Now, when I've checked the age of the Gardener's Delight and the Yellow Perfection, they were old. They were definitely old seeds. So what I've done is I didn't bother with any of the Yellow Perfection because, well, I thought I'll give the go with these 4, and if that doesn't work, that doesn't work. But the Gardener's Delight had a better date. I forget what it was, but I think it was sowed by the end of this year, whereas Yellow Perfection was sowed by the end of last year. And so what I've done over there in that little pot there is I've put in about 20 of the seeds that were left from Gardener's Delight. Now, if all of these germinate, hooray, I'm going to have a lot to choose from and a lot to give away. But if not, well, who knows. I've got another tray set up ready to go. You can see I was a little bit short on these ones, so I made a quick blend up, which the top part of it's a bit rich, but the bottom part of it's definitely like that. It's about half and half. And there at the back I've got the beans and the peas and the salads to start next, and a last Hail Mary go with these onions. This is the Ailsa Craig onions, which I think I mentioned in the last video, but it's been a couple of days since I've put the tomatoes into the glasshouse. The colour has got more of a darker green colour than the yellowy colour, which I take as a healthy sign for these plants. They're still a bit spindly. There's some that I don't think are going to survive, like this one here. This one seems to be picking up and looking quite nice. It hasn't been too cold at night. The temperature's been down to about 9 or 10 degrees. I think we're forecast a potential drop to 0 in a couple of weeks' time, but hopefully by then these will be rugged enough. So let's hope they pick up, and let's hope the sowing of the other ones, the Hail Mary pass, also due. But I'll show you where I've got those in a moment. Here we are at the indoor heated propagator. I've got the lights on, I've got the temperature going, and I don't know if it's going to come out, if you can see it, but there's one. Can you see that there? There's one sun gold starting to germinate. Just there. Just there. Don't know if it's... Can I zoom in? There we go, you can just see the sun gold starting to germinate, so I'm pleased I've put the lights on. This is 3 days. Oh, and I can see one of the gazzies starting to come through at the back there as well. So life is emerging. I'll leave them another few more days, and fingers crossed they'll all start to come through. I would like them to all come through at the same time so that I can take them all out at the same time. I don't think it'll work that way though. So we'll just see how these go. So for now, I'll end the video here. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and if you've got any questions or comments, please leave them in the space below. And I'll just say TTFN until next time.